guys, so fingers crossed that Wi-Fi is strong enough here and that Guinea stays quiet enough during this episode. I'm just gonna wait for Shakti to hop on. Here she is. I just got into a new location, so, and Shakti's in a new location too. I love how we're both remote this time. So, like I said, fingers crossed for strong Wi-Fi. She's in Mexico. I'm in the middle of the mountains in North Carolina. Is she coming? So she's being added. It says, I invited you. It says that you're being added. It says adding.
Hey.
Connecting. Yay!
Hello.
I was like, we'll see how this goes.
I
We're both
forgot
like in remote
on the
locations.
light that's like up here, so I'm gonna try and do that so I don't look super dark. I don't know what light switch that is, so it's gonna be an adventure for everybody. There we go.
Yay!
Hey y'all.
I have like one plug, so I'm like plugged. My computer is plugged across the room, and my phone is plugged into my computer.
I've had champagne, I'm not gonna lie. I have not drank this entire past 80 days, and they just surprised me with a bottle of champagne in my room, and I was like, I'm gonna drink that. I'm gonna drink it. So,
Aww. Well, there's wine here, so I've definitely contemplated, because I have my own bottle, and then they have like two bottles.
it's like a wine feast.
I know, and I'm like, I'm in the mountains of North Carolina, and
I mean,
it's
we
beautiful.
finished our program.
You know what I mean? Like,
come on, we'll there's some moderation. It's
We
not
did.
harmful.
we did. I'll open it after the podcast because I
Popping
don't
on.
feel like getting
We
up.
Ann and I are both traveling for this podcast episode. Ann is in the mountains in North Carolina. I am in Mexico, Riviera Maya, which is beautiful and so exciting to be here. And we were, of course, going to still do this podcast. I was not going to give that up today at all, no matter what was going on. And then the topic that we usually brainstorm topics before we hop on with you guys. And then Ann was like, I feel like this is on my heart. I want to talk about it. I was like, oh my God, fucking perfect. Because I can totally talk about how I ended up here, which is a part of this topic. So, hi, Esther. Thank you for coming on.
No doubt.
All right. So, do you want to take it off?
All right, I'm sharing
where this idea came from.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to share it to one more place, and then I'll start.
And
I will tell you guys that I just got in here an hour ago, and I've been driving for like 9 hours. I don't know why I choose to travel on Mondays. But my brain is like taking a minute to settle, so we'll get there. Okay, so Shakti's had champagne and I have travel.
This is going to be a great episode, is basically what we're saying.
This is going to be good. Yeah, it's going to be good. Stick around. All right, so this topic came to me while I was driving, but it also kind of came to me this morning. It came to me both times. It came to me this morning. If you guys are in my virtual classroom, then you've already heard this, but it came to me while I was meditating today because, as I said, today was a travel day. And not only was it a travel day, but this past week, I've been in 4 different states in a week, like staying in 4 different states during the week. So it's been a really hectic week, to say the least. And there were a lot of things that were up in the air. I drove from, where did I come from? Georgia to Mississippi last night, and then switched cars and got right back in the car and drove back to North Carolina this morning. And there's like a lot still things up in the air. So I was sitting in meditation today because the reason I say this, you guys know that I teach so heavily on the foundation of self-love and self-care. And when I say that I show up for myself every single morning, I show up for myself every single morning. So I was exhausted last night. Like after all this travel, like I was exhausted last night. I went to sleep, got up at 5 a.m. Haven't done 5 a.m. wake ups in a while, but I got up at 5 a.m. because I was like, that's my option. My option is to get up at 5 a.m. and to still get in my hour workout and my hour meditation before I hit the road. So when I was sitting in my meditation, I realized that my brain was like really active, you know, like more active than it typically is, because there was a lot of, how is this going to work out? And how is this going to work out? And is this timing going to work? And you guys know, like when you're prepping for travel, there's a lot of logistics that are going through, and I have 2 cats, and like all of this stuff was going through my mind. And I was sharing with my virtual classroom that, you know, it would have been so easy to say, I don't have the time this morning. Like I legit don't have 2 hours to give to myself this morning. But as I was sitting there in meditation and really focusing on my breath, I was like, oh my God, but today of all days is the day I need it the most. Like today of all days is the day that I need it the most, when things are crazy, when things are hectic. And so it got me thinking that so often people say, I can't do whatever it is because of whatever the excuse is. I can't take this trip because of money. I can't, you know, quit the job because of money. I can't invest in a coach because of money. I can't start a new business because of time. I can't travel because of kids. I can't travel because cats. Like I can't travel. Like there's always a reason why you can't do something. And one thing that I learned very strongly from Kyle Cease is that the reason you say you can't do it is the exact reason you have to do it. The exact reason you say you can't, money, time, kids, whatever, is the exact reason why you have to do it. Why you have to do it, right? Because had I not shown up for myself this morning, it would have been just a complete shit show today. I would have had anxiety through the roof, and I guarantee things would not have gone as smoothly as they did. Things went perfectly today. Like perfectly today. But because I actively showed up and I visualized how I wanted today to go, and my day went exactly how I visualized it.
That's conscious co-creation. That's what conscious co-creation is about. That's what it entails. And I love this topic. I loved it the moment she brought it up, because I'm currently sitting in this amazing resort that was basically an earned trip for my business, my fitness coaching business. And I remember when I walked in, I landed here, I got transported to the hotel, and I walked in, yes, Gabby, I walked into the entrance, and the music was blasting, and it was like, welcome Beachbody coaches, and all this food, and it was like, the energy was super high. And I thought to myself, I looked at my husband and I said, and to think that the reason I'm standing here is because I made one decision 2 years ago with money I didn't have at the time to invest in myself, scared shitless, not knowing what I was going to do or how I was going to show up or how I was going to take care of myself, super depressed, super anxious, super worried. And because of that, here I am. And it has literally been one of the most life-changing experiences for my husband and I both. And it just really increased how much I value those moments when you feel like you cannot invest in yourself specifically. And that means investing time, investing money, investing energy. It means all of that. And because of those decisions, when we are up against the wall and we are presented with an option, and the option sounds exciting to us, even if it's scary, it sounds exciting, and we want to say yes, but we say no because we don't know how the money is going to work out, or we don't know how the time is going to work out, or whatever. The ego kicks in and it begins to backtrack us on what we really want to say yes to. It's in those defining moments when you actually have the power to make an extremely powerful choice. The kind of choice that shifts your entire reality, like almost instantaneously. And you know, the way the universe is set up, it's going to constantly present you with opportunities to say yes to what you deeply desire. It's going to present it and it's going to say, do you want to say yes? Do you want to say yes? Do you want to say yes? And you having free will, you're going to say whatever you want because you have the option to choose yes or to choose no. But every time that you choose no and you listen to that, you actually back away from the greater expression of who you are. You actually make yourself smaller. You actually dim yourself out. It's the opposite of what we deeply want, which is to be brighter and shine more and grow more. The thing is, the flip side to you growing and shining and being more of who you are is you've got to make scary decisions. You've got to. You've got to do the thing you think you cannot do. You have to. There's like literally no choice. That's it. If you want to grow, that is.
You saying that reminds me, it takes me back to like the month before I left Chicago. And I sobbed to Shakti. I cannot tell you how many times I sobbed to her and I was like, I know I have to do this, but I'm terrified. Like I was having like panic attacks, terrified, couldn't breathe, like so scared to like step off that ledge. And it was just like, I knew it was the right choice because like she said, it was exciting and I could visualize it and I could feel it and I could just like, I knew that it was it. But to actually like take that leap of faith was the most terrifying thing I have ever done. And then it happened again because I got really comfortable in Mississippi, right? I was there for 8 months. And the night before, or like 2 nights before, when I was getting ready to leave, I reached out to Shakti again, terrified, sobbing. Like
we've done this a lot. Can y'all tell?
I don't know how this is going to work out. And it's worked out. I keep showing up and like each place is more amazing than the last. This place is amazing. And I'm just like, thank God I did that. And I have no clue what's happening next week. And that's terrifying. But the thing is, like, my creativity is starting to flow more than it has ever flowed in my entire life. And this is absolutely the reason that I had to take that leap of faith. You know, the reason that I was terrified and, you know, is because I know that these creative opportunities are going to lead to the financial opportunities that I kept saying, well, I can't do it yet. I can't do it yet. I'm terrified to take that leap because of money. But the creative juices weren't going to come, which would then lead to financial opportunities if I didn't take that leap.
Let me just express to you, Anne loves this story because it's how I started being a coach, okay? How I got the money to even start doing what I'm doing, okay? It wasn't even a lot of money, okay? Investing and starting this business or starting your fitness journey is actually peanuts compared to a gym membership, in my opinion. But I didn't have any because I was on maternity leave, and you know, maternity leave, you don't get paid. And we had pretty much burned through all the savings I had. And I knew I needed something. I knew I needed to start working out, and I was desperate to start. And I literally took money out of a mutual savings account that my husband and I had, and I didn't tell him. And I invested it in this, and I said, I need to make the money back. And I'm scared. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how this is going to turn out, but I need to do this. I need to do this because I'm excited about it. I'm pumped about it. And I believe in my capacity to figure this out. No matter what it is, I can figure it out. Whatever, you know, worse is worse. I lose like $100 and I'm fine. Like back to square one, you know, and I took the plunge. And I have to tell you, like, when I look at what has been given back to me as a result of that 150, 160, I don't even know what I invested in this. It's like insane. I look at the return and I'm like, I was so scared for like $100 and something. I was making it such a big deal in my head. I was thought like I freaked myself out over something that gave me back like thousands more and so much more in experience and just camaraderie and expansion. You know, it like changed my life. It gave me back my health. It gave me back my purpose. It gave me back everything. And that's what we do. It's like these decisions are not really big. They look big in our head. It's a lot like when I got divorced. I was terrified of getting divorced. I was so scared.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh my God. I was like, we're going to be judged and, you know, everybody's going to like hate me because I was definitely the bad person in that picture. Like, I did not look good at all leaving that relationship. I looked very bad. My ex-partner was quite sick. And so leaving someone who's sick and has a a disease, it looks terrible. You look like a heartless person, which is true. But the problems in our relationship did not have anything to do with that, really. It wasn't that was the problem. There was already problems prior to getting to that point where the person was where they were as far as sick. So I chose to leave because I knew that wasn't my place. I knew I was in the wrong place. And I knew that even before we got married. I should not be here. But I was, and I went through with it because of social pressure. And then when I had to back out and leave, I was terrified. I was terrified of the repercussions of that and how I was going to start a life over after being with this person for so long and blah, blah, blah. And the turnaround to that, even though it was hard and it took so much time to kind of like rebuild my sense of identity and purpose, was again miraculous. Like I felt like I was reborn, like a brand new person, and I had so much more purpose and creativity, and I felt free to be who I am and express myself the way that I want to express myself. And it was just like a whole new life. And every time that we've done that, and Anna and I have very parallel experiences with this, every time we've been like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, or I can't do this, or whatever, and then we do it, it's like we're brand new people the other side of that. We just like are born again and born again and born again. And it feels like every time you're born again, you're like this cleaner, more vibrant version of who you were before. It's really beautiful. It's really special kind of transformation.
Yeah, I mean, we have very similar stories in the fact that it was the same thing when I started with Beachbody the first time. Very similar story. I invested, and I knew that if I didn't make my money back, I couldn't afford Shakeology the next month. Like, it was as simple as that. It was like, I put it on an almost maxed out credit card, and I was like, well, that's it. So if I don't make my money back, then I don't know what to do. And I did, you know, and I kept making more and more and more money. It just kept growing. And same thing with the divorce, you know, but it was different. I mean, situations were different with that. With me, it was similar in the fact that I knew I married the wrong person on my wedding day. I was like, I should not be doing this, but let's just go ahead and walk down the aisle anyway. Things will probably get better, not. But for me, it was a financial thing. Like, I was so scared to leave that marriage because I didn't know, like, I was living in Chicago, and I had a business that wasn't making a full-time income yet. I was no longer in the classroom, and I was relying on his insurance. I was relying on the majority of his salary, but I knew that I was incredibly unhappy and that things were not going to get better. And I was like, my only way to really grow and evolve and really fly from here is to leave. Otherwise, I'm going to get stuck. I kind of felt like if I don't do it now, I don't know that I'll do it. And so I chose to do it. And it was terrifying. And there were 3 apartments. So I was looking for apartments. I like this story a lot, actually. I didn't know if I was going to be able to find an apartment in my price range because, again, Chicago, right? Big city, and safety played a part. Neighborhoods played a part. Like, there were a lot of things that I had a lot of stuff. I had to pay for movers because I had a piano. Like, there were a lot of factors that played into this. And I was like, and it was also like the market was not, there were just not a lot of apartments. And so I checked in a couple neighborhoods that I was interested in. 3 apartments. There were only 3 apartments that were shown to me. And I remember looking at each apartment, and each one had something that I didn't like. You know, I kept comparing it to where I had been living with my husband. And I finally just picked one. I was like, you know what? It has a bigger kitchen. I love to cook. So I'm just going to go with it. And it ended up just being like the emotional attachment that I had to that apartment. When I left, I sobbed. Like, I cried so hard leaving that apartment because for me, it symbolized independence and strength and a safe place. Like, my marriage was not a safe place for me. And so it symbolized me really taking this leap of faith. And I think that, and we've said this before, but so many people say to both of us individually, but also together, like, God, I could never do what you do. Or, you know, it just looks like we're just these like amazing people, which we're amazing people. But what you guys don't see is the terror that we go through when we have to take that next step. And, you know, like Shakti talked about just how we kind of grow into these new people and we evolve every single time. And for those of you who may be newer to us, you may see us right now and think, oh my God, like, I can't even compare to that. First of all, don't compare yourselves to us ever, right? Don't compare yourself to other people. Don't compare where you're at in your journey to where someone else is at in their journey. But also understand that Shakti and I have been doing this for a very, very, very long time. And we continue to do it over and over and over and over again. So we are kind of like that stone that keeps getting smashed against the rocks and smashed against the rock, and it's tumbling and tumbling and tumbling. So it looks like this beautiful shiny thing, but you haven't seen everything that it's gone through in order to be this beautiful stone.
Which I've seen like scientific this life. Yes. Oh girl, it's a yes. The hell yes. That's what this is about. Super for sure. And I want to give you I want to give you guys a quote that, so the trainer that I worked out with today live is the same trainer who created the 80-day program that Anna and I have been doing. And she has this very famous one-liner. She has a lot of them, but one that she said today was, it doesn't get easier, you get stronger. And so I want to remind you guys that what Anna and I are talking about, this process of transforming yourself and doing the thing you think you can't, you do it over and over and over and over again. It never stops and it never gets easier, but you get stronger and your experience of yourself gets more solid and more confident. And that's what changes. But if you never do the thing you know you've got to do, and you're like, I don't have the time, Anne. I don't have the time, Shakti. How am I going to run this business? Or how am I going to do the training? Or how am I going to hire the coach? Or I don't have the money. That's a story. That's a STORY story. And you've told it to yourself for so long that you believe that it is true. You have convinced yourself that whatever you think you can't do is the truth, when in fact it's just a subjective layering that you laid on your life and a thing you've told yourself about the way that your life is. And people do it with their weight all the time. I'm just fat, or I'm just, I'm block shaped, or I'm, I can never lose weight, or I can't eat carbs, or I can't, we tell ourselves some pretty crazy stories about what we can and cannot do. And what we don't understand is that over time, those things become our truth. They become cemented into our consciousness. And then our body and our life shifts to reflect the thing we told ourselves about ourselves. And if you're not careful, you will talk yourself into a box pretty fucking fast. That's how that works.
Yeah, I mean, Shakti and I have both, we both started businesses with, she was a mom. She is a mom,
Right.
She was a stay-at-home mom. She was working through a lot of shit during that time. Yeah, and I started my business working 50 plus hours a week. So it was a side business. I was working more than a full-time job. It was the most I'd ever worked. I was a full-time nanny and I was exhausted, but I did it when I could. I was getting up early to work out. I was getting up early to do my personal development. I was, working my business during nap time or when I got home from work or whatever. I was fitting it because I had a vision of what I wanted. And every single time that I've hired a coach, I have never, ever, 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 ever had money just sitting in my bank account. Ever. I've never been like, oh, I totally have this allotted in my plan to hire this coach. That's never happened. But it's gotten to the point where, and I think talking to someone about this, that someone who was interested in investing, that it got to the point where it was so painful for me that my only option was to hire a coach, because I was like, I can't handle this pain anymore. So I don't care what if it costs me. I will do whatever it takes. I will do whatever it takes to figure out a way.
That's exactly
exactly. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're investing $100 or thousands of dollars. The story, the pain, the reasons, it's all the same. When you feel enough pain that you cannot stay where you are,
yes,
you will find a way.
You will get very open-minded very quick when you are at your pain point. And with Shakeology was the same thing. Because when I was introduced to Shakeology, I knew the ingredients were good because I read the ingredients label and I know a lot about ingredients. But I was still really skeptical about it up until the fact that I was not sleeping. I didn't sleep for 4 months straight after my son was born. Not because he wasn't sleeping, but because my anxiety was so bad, I was not sleeping at all. So when Anne was like, well, this thing is amazing, it really works for me, I was like, fuck it, whatever, just give me the juice. I don't care what it is. I'm gonna fucking drink it and I will see how I feel about it. Give me anything. If you say it works, I'll fucking drink that thing. And within 7 days, I slept for the first time the whole night. And I kid you not, when I woke up, I was in tears. I couldn't believe that I had slept all night and how calm I felt. It was a life-changing moment for me. It was a turning point moment for me. And that was like one of the very first moments in the past couple of years where I realized that I was on the other side of my story, which was being really depressed and anxious. And it was so powerful, you know, but again, you get really open-minded when you start suffering. When you're really in a lot of pain, you're like, I'll fucking take options. Who's got them, you know? Up until then, you're like, no, it's okay. Someone invites you to do something, and you're like, no. You're thinking about taking someone's course, and you're like, no. And here's the thing. I want to give you guys a couple of things. Number one, if something keeps coming up in your mind, or you keep thinking about a person, contact them and do the fucking thing. The reason it keeps coming up is because it's trying to get your attention. Stop fucking running from your intuition who's trying to help you out, and you be like, no, I'm okay. And then you get mad when your intuition don't want to show up when you want it. It's trying to help you. Listen to your fucking intuition. Listen to serendipity. Listen to those things that align, that kind of point you in a certain direction. They're happening for a reason. You know, listen to, like, talk to someone that you trust. Take this conversation to someone who's outside of your circle and have them reflect to you what they're hearing when you talk about it. And let them give you a perspective on that. Someone who you know is very objective and can kind of step back and just listen to you and reflect with you and hold space for you, and have them give you perspective, because they'll see what you don't see. You know, they'll hear your excitement. Or, you know, they'll say, why are you freaking out about this? You know, because they're not emotionally attached. So they'll be able to offer you some perspective on what you're going through. That's the value of community, again, as well. That's why having community is really powerful. But
which reminds,
you're going to jump into what I want you to jump into. So go ahead.
Well, I wasn't, but I was just going to say that reminds me, I have one free spot of a mindset call available this week. So I can be that person for one more person. If someone needs community. That, you know,
you need that. I get a lot of people all the time that message me. My primary business is fitness, health. So I get a lot of people that message me and are like, hey, I have a question about whatever. They need accountability with nutrition. They need accountability with fitness. And then I'm like, well, I'm happy to set you up with how I help everybody. You know, there's a system that I know works, and it works really freaking well. And I'll talk to them and I'll explain it to them. And then lately, a lot of people are like, hell to the yes, I'm all good, let's do the thing. And then every once in a while, I get people who are like, well, I can't afford that. And they say that to me for like a whole year. And I'm like, in a whole year, like $100 and something didn't, like, you couldn't make that work? Like, I made that work in like a day. Like, with no money, you know, because I was desperate, you know. And so it's like, it's the pain point factor. That's all it is. It's a pain point factor. It's not about not having the thing. It's about a pain point factor. And if the same person, like, will keep coming to me and talking to me and talking to me, and I'm like, dude, if you keep coming to me, it's because you need the help and you want to work with me. So do the thing. Stop procrastinating your progress. Because unless you've got skin in the game, you guys, you're not going to grow. And that's the thing. That's what's scary about taking the leap. That's what's scary about making a decision. That's what's scary about walking out in a relationship that's not serving you. That's what's scary about investing in a coach. That's what's scary, is that it's putting your skin in the game, and nobody wants their skin in the game. But unfortunately, unless your skin is in the game, you're not going to play. That's how that works.
Yep.
And Ann and I will tell you, because we've been those people.
Well, and speaking of pain points, I mean, when you were talking earlier, it reminded me of that, like, right before the ending of my last relationship, I'd already been working with a coach for 8 months, and he kept telling me the same shit over and over. You guys know I'm stubborn, right? Like, he kept telling me the same shit over and over and over again. Like, you know, you're responsible for your happiness. You need to love yourself, blah, blah, blah. Same shit I teach, right? But this is before I really understood the importance and taught it, you know, or teach it now. And so, but the reason I hired him was because he's a tough love coach, and that's what I wanted and needed. And I knew that he was not going to let me back down. You know what I mean? Like, I knew that he was going to continue to hold. Didn't mean that my actions were necessarily going to change when I left the appointment, But it meant that every week I had to face him and be like, I started that fight again. I sabotaged this again. I didn't do this. I didn't do that, you know. And he kept saying to me over and over and over again, like, just the same shit, you know, and really like holding me accountable. So it kept coming back. It wasn't until I was on the verge of losing the relationship. Like, I lashed out. Ego was spiraling, and I lashed out and said some really hurtful things. And we were like on a break at that point, right? And I knew that it was like really, really weak. Like, it was, the relationship was like really, really, really fragile. And I went to my next appointment and I was like, I will do whatever it fucking takes. I will do whatever it takes to save this relationship because I fucked up. And I now see everything that you've been telling me for the past 8 months. I now see it and I want to change because it was that pain point. It was so excruciating. It was like, I'm this close to losing the relationship. And for you guys who know my story, you know I lost the relationship. And it was excruciating because I was like, I fucking did that. I did it because I was stubborn and I didn't listen and I didn't really face what needed to be faced. And I kind of thought like, oh, sure, I can just play around with this. I can just, you know, I didn't take it seriously. And is it better that we're not together? Yeah, probably. You know, and obviously there's a lot of things that evolved from the ending of that relationship, but it was a pain point. You know, I don't know that I would have changed if he would have just said like, if we would have just, you know, stayed together, I probably would have kept doing the same shit over and over and over again because there was no fear of loss.
And this, you know, what starts happening as you get more tuned into your intuition and you start to get a little bit more confident in your ability to handle change is that you won't get to that point as often. You know, when we first start having to change, we resist a lot. So we have to hit rock fucking bottom, and that pain point has to be pushed before we're like, okay, I'll do the thing. But as you get more comfortable with transforming yourself, which is what this process is really about, which is with transforming through the thing that you feel like you can't do, but knowing deep down that you want to do, as you allow yourself to transform, you get far more, I think your self-awareness grows a lot. And I think at that point, you start to listen to the clues earlier, and then you start to get a little bit braver about making those choices. And so it doesn't ever have to get as bad as those initial circumstances when you did hit rock bottom or you did have those really painful moments. At least in my experience, that's true. But it comes with time and it comes with practice and building up that sort of arsenal of confidence that you can handle what comes your way. We talked about that last time too.
Yeah, and you guys might see this with money too. Shakti and I have both experienced it with money, where it's like you allow your bank account to get to zero or to the negatives or whatever, right? And you feel that dip, you feel like you're hitting rock bottom every single time because that's what's comfortable, right? That's what feels familiar. And it kind of goes back to what we talked about last week with the abuse. You allow yourself to abuse yourself in that way. You know, you allow yourself to deplete. That's really all it is. Your money is reflecting to you what you're doing to yourself. It's a reflection. And so this is why I say, like, in order to receive, you have to be giving to yourself. You receive the money when you're giving to yourself because your money is reflecting what you're doing to yourself. But so Shakti and I have both experienced this. Like, we worked really hard to like work through our money shit. And we were constantly like bouncing off of each other, like, you know, really reflecting back to each other. And like she said, we might experience dips here and there, but it's not to the same extent because we can see like, and now for me, like having that awareness of that the money is really reflecting back to me what I'm doing. This is also why I show up for myself every single morning and every single night. I make sure that I'm working out and meditating before bed and constantly giving back to myself because I see what happens in my bank account when I don't.
Yep.
And I'm not playing that game anymore. I'm not playing that game anymore. And so when you have the awareness and you hit that pain point so many times, like Shakti said, you don't allow yourself to go as deep because you know what happens. And you're like, I'm not.
And I will tell you,
anymore.
For me, it's been a lot of like connecting feeling, right? So abundance is one of my favorite topics to really practice this in, because it's like Anne said, we've worked really diligently on this for like a long time. And what I have associated for me is that abundance, and when I think about abundance, deep relaxation is something that comes to my mind. It's like I wrote about it today in one of my posts, that my abundance trigger is feeling deeply relaxed. And when I made that connection to like, this is what the feeling that I associate with abundance, I now, when I begin to have that feeling of contraction, which is really what the pain point is, it's a feeling of contraction. It's like when you begin to fear that you won't have enough, or you begin to fear that you don't know where it's going to come from, or you begin to fear that you have to make a transition and you don't know how, right? When the contraction begins to happen, I think about, what is the feeling I actually want to feel? What is the opposite feeling that I want to feel that's associated with this circumstance? And then I work to tap into that feeling in my body. I'll close my eyes and I remember times where I felt that way before. And maybe it was associated with other things, but abundance, for example, relax. So I'll close my eyes and I'll think, what makes me feel really, really relaxed, right? Like meditation does that for me, taking a really nice nap, laying on really soft sheets, reading a really good book is really relaxing to me. So I begin to think about all the things that are really relaxing and kind of tap into that feeling. And that's what prevents me from hitting that rock bottom moment, because I do the work when it comes to like what I call like emotional attunement. Like I just start to attune emotionally until I get to the feeling that I want, that represents the thing that I desire, right? And that actually helps the physical transition as well. You might not understand like, how is feeling better going to actually change a physical circumstance or help me make a transition, but you have no idea how powerful your emotions are in helping you align physically. It's a direct reflection of what happens physically in your life. Perfect example of that is, as I was preparing for this trip and I was like flying on the airplane and I was feeling really relaxed. I loved our airline. I had such a great experience. I had like 2 clients like sign up to work with me. I wasn't even working. I was just like relaxing on the airplane, like chilling. And then today it's been such like an abundant day, and I've had people reach out to me again. Hey, what are you doing? What's going on? I'm interested in working with you, blah, blah, blah. And what I have learned is that if you can figure out the emotional component to what you are wanting to feel, whatever circumstances in your life right now, and you're like, okay, I know that I have to take the new job, or I know that I have to leave this relationship, or I know I have to invest in this coach, or whatever it is that you feel like you know you need to do, I want you guys to find what the sentiment is behind the thing that you are wanting to do. Like when you think about hiring that coach, how does that feel? And knowing that you're going to work with someone who's going to help you move through your struggles. When you think about taking the new job opportunity, how does it make you feel knowing that you're going to be given like something with more money or more benefits or more freedom or whatever that thing is that you're going to be given? You know, like try and think of what is the emotional component and then tap into that consistently. Even if you don't make a physical decision yet, just work on the emotional attunement, because that makes a massive difference. Start thinking of yourself investing in it. Maybe you're not ready to do that physical thing yet, but start imagining yourself investing in it and how good it feels and how empowering that feels. And slowly, as you start to see yourself in your mind doing that thing and you start feeling it in your body, the physical action will just naturally occur. It's like bound to happen because you're training yourself to make that experience feel good in your body. I think that's really valuable, practical advice for that.
Yeah. And it can go with anything, you know. I mean, like I said at the beginning, when I was visualizing how I wanted today to go, I wanted it to feel easy. I wanted it to feel joyful. I didn't want to feel the anxiety that I had been experiencing, you know, the past week or whatever. I wanted my experience at Enterprise, you know, where I was renting my car, I wanted it to go quickly and I wanted it to just be smooth. And it was all of those things, but that was a conscious choice that I made.
That's it. You know? I mean, that's really, we have so much power in how we can start. I'm getting a phone call, y'all, in my hotel room. That's never happened before. I'm gonna let them leave a message. I don't know what's happening right now. Like, who knows I'm here? You know, I don't know right now. How do you people know that I'm in this room? Please ignore the very loud telephone sound that's radiating from my life right now. I totally forgot my train of thought when the phone started ringing, but that's okay. But I now. We have when I tell people you have more control than you think you have, and people are like, well, I can't control the things that happen in my life. I'm like, that's not the point, right? Like, physical situations and circumstances are going to happen all the time. Like, your kid is going to be crazy. The job is going to blow up. Like, things are going to happen all the time. But your emotional control is what really, really matters. Because how quickly you can attune emotionally is going to dictate how quickly your physical reality attunes to the emotion. And this is the secret, you guys. This is the book, The Secret, did a shitty job of describing this. It was like an awful description of this, but this is the actual secret. The actual secret is that if you want to know what you're thinking and what you're radiating, look at your physical reality. Because your physical reality is simply handing you evidence of where you are emotionally attuning. And if you don't like what you see when you look in your physical reality, you don't like your bank account when you look in there, if you don't like your marriage when you look in there, if you don't like, whatever you look at and you don't like, it's just showing you evidence of emotional attunement. And at that point, you then have the power to say, I don't like what I'm looking at. So let me begin to emotionally attune in a different direction. I don't know what action to take yet. I'm not clear on the action part yet. That's okay. Start with the emotional attunement. What do I want to feel? What do I want to feel in my marriage? What do I want to feel in my job? What do I want to feel in my health? And the more you work on attuning there, the action will come to you. It will come to you. The obvious next step will present itself to you. But you've got to do the emotional attunement work. That is the work. That is the work that Ann and I talk about all the time. That's what we help our people with. That's what we do, is the emotional work. Because we understand from very physical, personal experience that if you can master that, the rest will be handed to you. And that is true whether you're working on your weight or your mindset or whatever it is that you're working on. It's all internal before it's external. That's it.
I have clocks chiming.
It's cat. Hey.
You have phone ringing because I have clocks. I was just gonna say, this came from the Lively Show, which is a podcast that Shakti and I have listened to, and one thing that I love that she says is, you don't get what you think about, you get what you feel about. And that's exactly what Shakti's saying. You don't get what you think about. You can't think about it like obsessively and be like, why isn't it working? How do you feel about it? You get what you feel about. And when Shakti said, to shift your emotions, it's always remember that when you are experiencing contrast, don't like the lack of responding and reacting to the contrast is more powerful than you think. Because what happens is that when you experience contrast in your life, ego says, freaks out, right? I need to fix something. Let me just start fixing, right? But it's in the fixing of the contrast that fucks it all up, and you experience more contrast. So when you're experiencing contrast and ego wants to freak out and say, oh my God, we need to fix something, chill out. Just chill out. Go take a walk, go meditate, go take a nap, step away, and wait until you are truly calm and relaxed, and then see what comes to you. And maybe you will still do that thing, right? But most likely it's going to be to do something completely different, because it's ego that wants to react, and it's in the reaction that perpetuates the contrast.
We just basically gave y'all the secret to life. So I don't know what else we can really tell you, because that's literally what we've done all the time. And we've understood this from doing the things we thought we couldn't do. That's where this knowledge, this experiential knowledge came from. It came from going in the direction of what our spirit wanted, even when it was scary, even when it was intimidating, even if we didn't know how it was going to work out, and just doing that over and over and over again. And over time, we began to understand that what we were actually doing when we did that was training our reality. What you do when you say yes to what you deeply want, even if it's intimidating, is you train your reality to bring you more experiences of what you actually want. You are training the grid to present to you more opportunities that are in alignment with what you actually want. If you continuously back down from what you actually want, you are training the grid in the opposite direction. Okay? Let that sink in for like a hot second. That's how the universe works from a very practical standpoint. That's how law of attraction works. That's how law of assumption works. That's how quantum physics works. That's how it works. That is it. And our power is very intangible. Our power is very non-substantial, and that's why we don't understand it, because we are in this grid where our physical bodies and our physical actions have so much power and we give it so much meaning. But what we don't understand is that every physical motion that we do and every physical manifestation that presents is an expression of an intangible force that came before it. That is how things work. Before a chair was a chair, it was a thought in someone's mind to be a chair. Same is true of everything. Electricity, a toilet, a bathtub, spoon. Before a thing was a thing, it was a thought. Okay? So before you can live the kind of life that you deeply desire, you've got to like have the thoughts and the feelings in your system of what it is that you desire. Otherwise, you can't get there. Can't move there.
I love too that you said, Shakti, that yes, we've done this, like we've learned what we've learned through doing the things that we've done. And it got me thinking about when you guys say, I can't afford that thing, I can't afford to work with that person. I want you to really understand what you're investing in. Yes, there's a financial investment when you invest in a coach, right? But it's not just the monetary investment. And it's not just investing in yourself and your own personal growth. You are investing in all of the knowledge that specific coach has, right? The reason that coaches charge what they charge, I can speak for myself. The reason I charge what I charge is because I've invested a shit ton in myself, financially and time-wise, and I've done so much work that the knowledge that I come with is huge. I'm saving you so much time, and Shakti does the same. Like, we're saving you so much time. Like, you're not going to have to make the same time investment that we've made because we've done the work, right? And so, not to say that you then like don't have to do the work. You still have to do your work, but you're shortening the amount of time that you're actually going to have to spend doing the things because you're not figuring it out all on your own. And not to say we've done it on our own. We definitely haven't. We've talked about that, but you know, we take everything that we've learned, our experience, the books, the podcasts, the mentors, the courses, everything, and we compact it down to
deliverable.
Here's how we serve you. That's what.
And the same thing goes with any investment you're making in your life. Like when we say investment, we don't just mean monetarily. We're also talking energetically. Like you investing in yourself energetically and like leaving the abusive relationship or deciding that you want to quit emotionally eating or, you know, whatever decision you're making that is like, this is an investment in me. Like basically when you say I'm investing in me, that means I am valuing myself enough to change something about me. Sometimes that can mean hiring a coach and paying them money, or sometimes that can mean, you know, putting yourself on a plan to deal with your emotional eating, or sometimes like whatever that thing is, when you say like, I'm going to do this, and you make the investment, you make the emotional commitment and the physical commitment to the thing, even if you're nervous about it, everything shifts like this. And you become so receptive to what that coach has to offer you, or so receptive to what like the new life of leaving that person has to offer you, or the new foods that are going to replace the ones that you're so used to comforting yourself with, you know, the new emotions you're going to get to explore as a result of dropping the emotional coverage that is food, right? Like you become so receptive and sensitive to things that were outside of your scope of experience when you decide to emotionally commit. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things that I've learned, not just in investing in courses and coaches and mentors and things of that nature, but also in like my food, my relationship to food, which I talk about a lot. Like making the investment in, okay, I am committing to letting go of this relationship that I have to food that's really unhealthy and has nothing to do with nourishment. And it's all about like covering my pain up. Like I am making an investment. I'm not going to do this anymore. And I'm going to take the time to prep for myself. And I'm going to take the time to pause and make conscious decisions when I get presented with things. And I'm going to take the time that I need to make sure I stay on track. That's been life-changing. That's been life-changing. And you can do it with every circumstance in your life.
And finding the joy in it, which we've talked about in other episodes too. You know, finding the joy in it, because with any circumstance, you can find the positive or the negative. You have a choice. But are you going to find the joy in your new path? Are you going to find the joy in leaving the relationship? Are you going to find the joy in having a healthier lifestyle? Are you going to find the joy in, you know, leaving the job or starting a new business or whatever? Or are you going to look at all the reasons it's hard, or all the reasons that it's uncomfortable, or all the reasons that maybe, you know, something in the past had something different for you, you know?
Absolutely.
It's a choice.
100%. I'm also just going to throw out there that I don't have like a time watch on me. So I don't know what time it is.
Oh, it's 8:50, 7:50 for you.
So that's pretty much what we had to talk about today. We didn't have any questions, but congratulations on Abby and your new job. That's very exciting. I think you already know the decision that you need to go in. So just follow that and do the thing. And that's that. Do the things. And you feel free to share anything you want to share, you know, want us to shout you out for or celebrate you for. We're happy to do that as well. If you're about to make a scary decision, we'll cheer for you.
Yeah.
Thanks, ladies. I'm so thankful for Monday nights with y'all. I learn something new every week. I appreciate you giving your time to us so much. Oh, thank you so much. That's so sweet. I love that.
We look forward to it every week too. Like I reached out to Shakti. I was like, I know you're in Mexico, but we're still on, right? Because I'm still down.
Yeah.
We look forward to it.
It's a special time for us as well. It's an honor and a pleasure to be able to distill our knowledge and our experience with you guys. And it's one of the most amazing things we can do is help you guys. And this is one way that we do it for free. This is one way we just do it because it is born of us to teach and share. But there are other ways that we work with you as well that are really valuable and are an investment. And a lot of you guys have been sitting on the fence of doing that for a while. And so if it is, again, remember what we've talked about, because we've been those people. We've been there. We've walked the line and we know the difference. So of course, we love sharing this podcast with you, and we will every week. But remember that there are other layers to your evolution that you are also welcome to take part of as well.
100%.
Well, we don't have any questions on, and I've got like 2 phone calls and a voice message now from I don't know who. So I should probably.
Yeah, I need to get settled. I like dropped my shit in here and nothing is unpacked. So. All right, guys. Well, as usual, we will post below how you can reach out and work with us. And otherwise, we will see y'all next Monday.
Bye.
All right, bye.